The F-35, the most advanced United States fighter jet, is facing a major crisis. Canada and European countries are questioning their confidence in these aircraft. The biggest reason for this is the alleged kill switch, the possibility that the United States could remotely disable the aircraft in a crisis.
Very expensive fighter jets from the U.S. over trade concerns.
Talked about a lot, which is the Saab Gripen. That was the runner-up in the long procurement process to get these F-35s lined up.
Example is the F-35 fighter jet made by American aerospace giant Lockheed Martin.
Prime Minister Mark Carney has directed the Defense Ministry to review a $13.2 billion F-35 fighter jet.
The Trump administration's harsh policies towards NATO and the uncertainties that are pushing Europe towards military independence also make the future of the F-35 questionable. At a time of heightened geopolitical uncertainty, NATO member states face the question, is it right to be so dependent on the United States? As the war in Ukraine rages on, some NATO countries are questioning the risks of military dependence on the United States. Defense Minister Pete Hegseth's statements show that European security is no longer a top priority for Washington. This has a negative impact on NATO, as well as the United States defense industry. United States defense and aerospace company Lockheed Martin's F-35 and F-16 sales are at risk as allies look for alternatives. Canada, $9.1 billion United States dollars, Germany, $8.4 billion United States dollars, and Portugal, $25.5 billion United States dollars, are all considering the possibility of canceling these F-35 deals. So can the world's most advanced fighter jet survive this harsh questioning from its own allies? Or will the kill switch controversy turn the F-35 into one of the biggest disappointments in defense history? Let's take a closer look at the development. Canada has decided to reconsider the purchase of 88 F-35 fighter jets. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney announced that Canada would review the purchase from Lockheed Martin, citing the Pentagon's control over the stealth aircraft, changing geopolitical dynamics, and the need to strengthen the domestic defense industry. The planes were scheduled to be operational by 2034. In his meetings with French President Macron and British Prime Minister Starmer, Carney discussed increasing defense cooperation with Europe and the implementation of some projects in Canada. Canada is considering revising the Lockheed Martin contract by exploring alternative procurement routes. However, this decision presents both an opportunity and a risk for Canada's defense industry. Bombardier CEO Eric Martel warned that canceling the F-35 order could lead to economic retaliation from the United States. The company is a major exporter to the United States, and many of its contracts are directly linked to the United States. Against this backdrop of uncertainty, Lockheed Martin has made a new offer to keep Canada in the deal. The company has pledged to create more jobs in Canada if F-35 procurement continues. Canada has long been part of the F-35 program, and more than 110 Canadian companies have been involved to date. Lockheed Martin emphasizes that the program contributes to global economic growth and supports the development of the Canadian aerospace industry. But criticism of the F-35 program continues. Germany has proposed a review of the deal due to an alleged remote disabling mechanism in the aircraft, while Portugal has decided against buying the F-35 for geopolitical reasons. Canada has similarly announced that it is considering alternative jets. Lockheed Martin, along with the Joint Program Office JPO, denied the allegations of remote deactivation in an attempt to prevent a possible drop in sales. However, it remains unclear how Ottawa will respond to this new offer. Portugal and Europe are also looking for alternatives. Portugal is considering the possibility of replacing its aging F-16 fighter jets with European jets instead of F-35s, following United States President Trump's policy changes. Defense Minister Nuno Melo said that Trump's unpredictable policies towards NATO and Europe could be decisive in the choice of aircraft. The unpredictability of allies could impose limitations on the use, maintenance, and operability of the aircraft, Melo said. The ministry emphasized that it has not completely ruled out the purchase of the F-35, but at an early stage of this process, other models in Europe are being considered. It also noted the need to strengthen the European pillar of NATO defense in the current geopolitical context and the necessity to increase local defense production. In this context, the European Commission has also announced a new plan. This plan, launched to support Ukraine and boost European defense production, emphasizes the need for large investments, in-depth cooperation and long-term efforts. Proposing a comprehensive strategy for strengthening European defense, the Commission also underlined the need to encourage domestic production. The white paper, which is still in the drafting stage, says Europe's defense sector must be able to meet the demands of member states, produce at scale, stockpile and rapidly move equipment around the Union. European Union leaders also propose a series of strategies, such as increasing joint procurement cooperation and prioritizing investments in unmanned aerial vehicles and air missile defense systems. The Commission has also promised to present a separate plan in June to cut red tape. On the other hand, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced the establishment of a European military sales mechanism to pool member states' requests for defense systems. Von der Leyen said, "Today, most defense investments go outside Europe. Good work, research, development, and innovation are being done outside Europe. This is not sustainable. More Europe must buy," she said, stressing the need to increase Europe's defense capacity. This new strategy could be of great benefit to EU defense manufacturers. In particular, companies such as Dassault Aviation France, Rheinmetall Germany, and Leonardo Italy could benefit. Portugal, Canada, and other European countries are also considering alternative jets, such as the Saab Gripen, Eurofighter Typhoon, and Dassault Rafale. However, these aircraft do not have the stealth capabilities of the F-35. This means that Portugal and other countries have reached an important decision point in their defense strategies. The European Commission is preparing a new plan to revitalize the continent's defense industry, while Germany has passed a law that focuses on domestic production rather than increasing defense spending. Amid these developments, there are calls for Germany to cancel its order for the Lockheed Martin F-35A. Thomas Pretzel, president of the General Works Council of Airbus Defence and Space, stated that dependence on the United States would limit Germany's strategic mobility and suggested that Berlin should stop ordering the F-35 and turn to domestic projects. Germany has ordered 35 F-35s to replace its existing Panavia Tornado fleet. However, Eurofighter jets developed in Europe are not considered sufficient for this role, and Airbus officials want more investment in the Eurofighter program. Berlin's current defense spending also includes 60 Boeing CH-47F Chinook transport helicopters and 8 P-8A maritime patrol aircraft. The debate on Europe's defense future is also gaining momentum. France, Germany, and Spain are working on the Future Combat Air System FCAS, while the UK, Italy, and Japan are collaborating on the Global Combat Air Program GCAP. However, planning these projects as far out as 2035-2040 may be insufficient in the face of current threats. German defense industry representatives emphasize that Berlin should take the lead in Europe's military aircraft production by investing more in domestic projects. Airbus officials are calling for the preservation of the Eurofighter program and the acceleration of the next generation of fighter jets. On the other hand, the high cost of the F-35 and strategic concerns raise the question of whether its future is under threat. Buying fighter jets from the United States also means accepting a long-term military relationship with Washington. But many countries are now questioning how reliable this relationship is. In addition to the United States, the F-35 is currently operated by a number of non-NATO countries, including South Korea, Japan, Australia, and Israel. In total, 19 allied countries operate these advanced aircraft. However, some NATO countries are planning to buy dozens of new F-35s to replace Cold War-era Soviet-built and older American-made aircraft. The F-35 is notable for combining high stealth, superior maneuverability, and strike capabilities on a single platform. However, the cost of each F-35 ranges from $100 million to $150 million United States dollars, including infrastructure and spare parts. This huge cost is something the United States aims to offset with international sales. However, the Trump administration's policies, especially the kill switch allegations, have caused great concern in allied countries. This poses a threat to the United States defense hegemony and the future of the F-35. On the other hand, Elon Musk has criticized the F-35, arguing that manned fighter jets are no longer necessary. However, experts say that this view is not applicable in practice. There is also criticism within the United States. Adam Smith, a member of the House of Representatives, criticizes the high cost of the F-35 project, while underlining its strategic importance on the battlefield. The origins of the F-35 go back decades. The United States intended to spearhead the development of an aircraft for NATO members. The aircraft was designed with advanced stealth capabilities, radar and sensors to perform in different missions such as air-to-air combat, ground attack, and reconnaissance. But the development process encountered major cost overruns and technical problems. As a result, the F-35 is considered by some experts to be the best fighter jet in the world. The F-35 is a really good airplane, with best-in-class strike capability and low observability, says Richard Abulafia, Managing Director of Aerodynamic Advisory. But if NATO abandons it, that capability will be lost, he says. There are many advantages to NATO members using the same aircraft design. These include a common communications platform, hard points compatible with NATO munitions, training facilities for pilots and maintenance teams, and the sharing of spare parts. It's easier to fight wars with allies when you use the same equipment, said former Texas Representative Mac Thornberry, a proponent of the F-35 project. However, if United States allies back away from the F-35, it could undermine NATO's cohesion and be something that adversaries would like to see. United States defense and aerospace company Lockheed Martin has referred questions about foreign military sales to the United States government, although it emphasized the F-35's strong partnerships with the Canadian and Portuguese air forces. Alternatively, the Swedish-built Saab JAS 39 Gripen, a lower cost and faster option compared to the F-35, is less compatible with NATO systems, but has advantages such as longer range and lower operating costs. Georgia Tech's Margaret Kosal sees the unease over the F-35 as an indication of growing mistrust within the alliance since Trump's inauguration. Kosal says it reflects a lack of trust in the United States. But does kill switch really exist? The Pentagon and Lockheed Martin flatly deny allegations of a secret mechanism that allows the F-35 fighter jets to be disabled remotely. However, the F-35's software infrastructure and logistical supply chain make it almost impossible to operate without United States support. Recently, allegations that the United States could disable the F-35 fleet with a single button have spread rapidly on the internet. These seemingly speculative claims have raised serious concerns in allied countries. As the debate grew, United States officials tried to refute these rumors by making various statements. Although the F-35s do not have a direct off switch, it is a fact that they require constant American support operationally. Experts say the planes require regular software updates and could lose their functionality if these updates are interrupted. Concerns are also growing in Europe. Although Belgian and Swiss defense officials argue that the F-35 cannot be controlled remotely, many experts say questions remain. In particular, Trump's NATO policies have shaken confidence in Europe, calling into question the F-35's dependence on the United States for spare parts and updates. So, how will Lockheed Martin and other defense giants react to possible changes in the F-35 program? The United States is reconsidering the future of the F-35, which could cost the defense industry billions of dollars in losses. Seth Jones of the Center for Strategic and International Studies, CSIS, says that the United States rethinking the F-35 purchase is based on questions about the future of unmanned and autonomous platforms. Can NATO continue to fight wars without the uniform use of aircraft? Georgia Tech's Kosal says this would have negative effects, but not a major impact on capabilities. The F-35 has capabilities that are far more advanced than existing aircraft and difficult to replicate. It plays an important role in covert missions and high-precision attacks. But when NATO countries decide to increase defense spending, it may make more sense to procure aircraft from local production lines in Europe. Citing the example of Portugal, which has yet to purchase the F-35, Jones points out that European production lines could become more attractive. In conclusion, the F-35 fighter jet remains a critical element shaping military relations between the United States and allied countries. However, issues such as kill switch and security concerns have created considerable uncertainty, especially between Canada and European countries. Although Lockheed Martin and the United States government have tried to reassure these concerns with various statements, it is thought that alternative aircraft options and local defense projects should be strengthened. The future of the F-35 and its strategic importance are becoming more and more debated, especially as efforts to increase defense industry independence in Europe are gaining momentum. Thank you for tuning in.